Morning student, welcome to the third lecture of unit number 3. In the previous lecture, we have discussed about how to execute a complete instruction by using single processor bus. So now in today's lecture, we are going to discuss about hardware control unit. So to execute a complete instruction, the processor must have some means of generating the control signals needed in the proper sequence. It means that to execute an instruction, there must be some control signals. Without generating control signal, processor can't execute an instruction. Okay. So in the previous lecture, we have also seen instruction decoder and control logic. Okay, so this instruction decoder and control logic is responsible for generating control signals here. So without control signal, we can't execute an instruction. We can't perform operations on instruction like addition, subtraction, division, multiplication, or transferring data from one register to another register. To perform each of these actions, there must be some sequence of control signals. Okay, and these control signals must be in the proper sequence. So computer designers use a wide variety of techniques to solve this problem. So these are the approach falls in one of two categories. So first approach to generate a control signal is that hardware control unit, and another approach to generate control signal is the microprogram control unit. Okay. So our aim is that to generate a control signal in the proper sequence. For what? To execute an instruction. Okay, but there are two ways to generate control signals. First way is that by using hardware control unit, and second way is the by using microprogram control unit. Okay, so we discuss each of these techniques in detail. So starting with the hardware control unit. In the previous lecture, we have seen this instruction, that is add R3, R1. That means adding the contents of R3 with the contents of R1. Okay, here R3 is act as an address. So the address held by R3 is holding some data which we have to add with the R1 and storing the result in the R1. Okay, so here consider the sequence of control signals. Okay, so here each step in this sequence, these all are the sequence. So each step in this sequence, for example, step 1, step 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7. So each step in this sequence is completed in one clock period. Okay, your processor is works with the clock cycle. So each step is completed in one clock period. For example, step 1 is completed in one clock period, step 2 is completed in one clock period, likewise. So counter may be used to keep track of the control steps. So each step is completed in one clock period, and to keep track of these steps of counter period, we use a counter. Okay, so what is counter? Here in this diagram, here we use a counter step, control step counter. Okay, this is a clock. In one clock period, we execute step 1, another clock period we execute step 2, and to keep track of these steps, we use a control step counter. So each step or count of this counter corresponds to one control step. That means one clock cycle is corresponds to one control step counter. Okay, so the required control signals are determined by contents of the control step counter. Second thing is that contents of the instruction register. The required control signals are determined by, first one is the control step counter, another is the contents of the instruction register, then contents of the condition code flags, and another is the external input signals such as MFC and interrupt request. Now what is MFC? Memory function complete. So by using all these contents, we can determine the control signals. So to gain insight into the structure of the control unit, we start with the simplified view of hardware involved. So first here we have decoder or encoder. So now here this decoder and encoder is a combinational circuit that that generates the required control outputs. Okay, now here the contents of IR are given to the decoder and encoder, and step counter output is also given as an input to this decoder and encoder. Condition port flag and external inputs are also given to this decoder and encoder, and depending on all these contents, this decoder or encoder is responsible for generating some control signals. Okay, so depending on the state of all its input, this decoder and encoder is responsible for generating control signals. So by separating the decoding and encoding functions, we obtain more detailed block diagram like this. So here step decoder provides a separate signal line for each step. Okay, now here we have separate this encoder and decoder block. So this is instruction decoder and this is instruction encoder. So here step decoder, and this control step counter has also one step decoder. So this step decoder provides a separate signal line for each step, or we can say that it provides a separate time slot for each step in the control sequence. So similarly, the output of the output of this instruction decoder consists of separate line for each machine instruction. Now this provides separate line for each step, and here it provides separate line for each machine instruction. Let's say there are a number of instructions stored in your memory. So this instruction decoder provides a separate line for each machine instruction. Okay, so for any instruction loaded in the IR, one of the output line, that is INS1, INS means instruction 1, instruction 2 up to instruction M, is set to 1. Okay, so for example, we are loaded instruction in the IR. So for that instruction, this IR generates some output lines, that instruction 1, instruction 2 up to instruction M, which is given as an input to encoder. And these all instruction lines are set to 1 and all other lines are set to 0. Okay, the instruction which is loaded in the IR only, the sequence line for that particular instructions are set to 1 and all other lines are set to 0. So the input signal, now the input signal to the encoder are combined to generate the individual control signals by and PC out. Now we have to generate control signal, that Y in and PC out. Okay, so the output lines of instruction decoder, the output lines of step decoder, output lines of external input and condition ports are provided to this combinational circuit. And why we are providing these output lines to this encoder? To generate the individual control signals. So by using all these outputs, by using all these inputs given to the encoder, this encoder will generate some sequence of control signals. Okay, so let's say example how the encoder generates Z in control signal for the processor organization. Now look here, in the first step we have ZD. Okay, now from step 1, step 2 and step 3. This 3-step constitutes a fetch cycle. Okay, in the previous lecture we have seen that this first 3-step constitutes a fetch cycle and the remaining are the execution cycle. Okay, so in the fetching we have to generate control signal ZD. Okay, now let's see how we can generate the control signal for the ZD. Now where is ZD? In this step 1 we have ZD. So look here, Z in. In step 1 we have Z in. So that's why this one is written as T1. Okay, that means clock cycle 1 or time slot 1. After that, plus T6 into add. Now what we have to perform with ZD? We have to perform add operation. Okay, what is our instruction? Add R3 comma R1. After that we have to perform add. So add ZD. Now here we are performing add ZD at step number 6. So at in step number 6 we also have ZD. That's why this is written as T6 dot add. That means in this step number 6, we are performing addition operation with the ZD. Okay, so this is step number 1. This is step number 6. Here we are performing add operation. Okay. Now again, when we are performing add operation, we have seen that in the while executing branch instruction, we are performing Z in operation at the step number 4, and that's why T4 dot BR. So for AND operation, we use this dot. So P1 is given directly as P1 is single. After that, T6 into add. So this T6 is given to this AND gate. So add T6 and into T6. Dot is used for AND operation. And then T4 into BR. So this T4 BR stands for branch instruction. So T4 into BR. And these all inputs are given to the OR gate. So T1 into T4, T1 plus T6 into add plus T4 into BR. Okay, so this is how we can generate control signal for the Z in. So likewise, we can generate control signals for the AND operation, for the subtraction, for the multiplication. Okay, so depending on these steps, we can generate control signals in hardwired control unit. Okay, so this is about the hardwired control unit. So then another way that we have for generating control signals is that microprogram control unit. So all the modern processors are made by using microprogram control unit. So this microprogram control unit concept was made in 1952. The person called as Morris Wickes. So the design called as Wickes design. So this is the proposed design block diagram. Then this idea was proposed before any other processor mode. So microprogram control unit, that is it is a unit that is made by using softwares made by using some micro instructions. And now we don't know what is micro instructions, but we will discuss about what is micro instructions. So this microprogram control unit is made by using some softwares. It is made by using some micro instructions. Now here the diagram you can see is not a circuit. This diagram is in software. Okay. Now this complete diagram is a software. This is not a block diagram. Okay. Or this is not a circuit. It is a software. So now we know that what is a program? Program is a set of instruction. Okay. And instruction required a series of small operations called micro operations. Let's say program. Program is a set of instruction. Now these are the number of instructions. Okay, now these are the instructions. Okay, now these instructions or this instruction required a series of small operations. Okay, for example, in your program, there are a number of instructions like addition, subtraction, multiplication. So combination of these all instructions is called as program, but that instruction also contains some small operations. Like this instruction 1 contains some operations like instruction 1 we have to perform addition. After that, we have to store that result in another register. After that, we have to perform subtraction on that particular result. So this instruction also contains series of small operations, and that operations are called as micro operations. Okay, and to perform these micro operations, you need to produce control signals. Okay, as I told you, without generating control signals, we can't perform any operation on instruction. Okay, so a program is a set of instruction. Then an instruction required a series of small operations called as micro operations, and to perform micro operations you need to produce some control signals. Okay, and to produce these control signals there are set of micro instruction. Okay, now to produce control signals again there is a term that is micro instruction. Instruction contains micro operations, but to perform these micro operations we need control signals, and to generate control signal we need micro instructions. Okay, that is every instruction has a set of micro instruction. So every instruction has a set of micro instruction. Micro is written as like this. So every instruction has a set of micro instruction. Okay, and that micro instruction called as micro program for that particular instruction. And this micro instruction is also called as micro program for that particular instruction. Okay, are you getting my point? Program is a set of instruction. Instruction also consists of or instruction required a series of small operations called as micro operations. To perform these micro operations, you need to produce some control signals, but to produce these control signals, there are a set of micro operations. That is, every instruction has a set of micro instruction, and that micro instruction called as micro program for that instruction. Okay, so program has instruction, instruction has micro program, which has instruction mean a layer inside a layer. Okay, so this is a program stored in a memory. Program is a set of instruction, and instruction required set of micro operations. Instruction required set of micro operations to perform. To do micro operations, we need control signals. Those control signals are produced by control unit. In hardwired method, we made this control unit using combinational circuits. Okay, so to produce control signals, we are going to use tiny instructions called micro instruction. And the micro instruction that will produce all control signals that are required to perform addition, subtraction, multiplication, and so on. Okay, so the set of micro instructions that correspond to one instruction are called micro program for that instruction. When micro instruction is set to one, only that instruction is called as micro program for that particular instruction. So if the instruction is addition, I want to produce control signals, so circuit will not produce it. A set of micro instruction will produce those control signals. So now we use another memory called as control memory, that is CM. This is the micro program. Now CM is the control memory. In that there is a micro program for addition, subtraction, multiplication, and so on. So for every instruction, there is a micro program. So all I need to do is from my instructions, somehow I will get the address of micro program. And once I get the address of micro program have instructions which will produce control signals. So which will cause micro operations so that my addition instruction is complete. So this is how micro program control unit works. Okay. So now let's discuss about the typical microprogram control unit. So now we will see a modern implementation of microprogram control unit. So this CM, that is control memory, from here, we will be fetching micro instructions and produce control signals. So in this control memory, we will fetch micro instruction and produce some control signals. Now program is stored in a memory. When instruction is fetched, it comes into the IR. Now your program is stored somewhere in the memory. Okay, when instruction is fetched, when we fetch instruction from memory, it comes into the IR, and that instruction has an opcode. Opcode means which type of operation we have to perform. So use that opcode to identify the address of first micro instruction. So it all begins from the IR. IR will given the address of first micro instruction, which is stored in control memory. Now here we have micro program. What does it mean? We know micro PC, that is micro program counter. Now what does micro program counter? We know program counter contains the address of next instruction. So micro PC contains the address of next micro instruction. Okay, now PC, your program counter working is same. In normal program, your program counter contains the address of next instruction. Now micro program counter contains the address of next micro instruction. So here we get the address of first micro instruction, and that address is given to the control memory. Okay, so first we fetch the program, we fetch the instruction from memory, loaded into the IR. Once we loaded into the IR, we will get the address of first micro instruction, and now your micro PC will fetch the instruction of another next micro instruction, and this address is given to the control memory. So from control memory, we fetch micro instruction and stored it into micro IR. Okay, that is micro instruction register. We stored it into the micro IR. So these all names are same as we used in the real memory. So this micro instruction, this is your micro instruction. This is your only one field called control field. It will simply release the control signals that what you wanted to do. So there will no address field. Once control signals are released, uh, we have one micro instruction. Thereafter, the micro program will be executed in a sequential manner. So here we defeat the drawback that was there in the Wiki's design, that was there in the hardwired control unit also. That means micro instructions will be incremented. So who will increment the micro instruction? Program counter or micro program counter? Obviously, micro instructions are incremented by micro program counter. So once one micro instruction is executed, side by side, your micro program counter will get incremented. So it will now give the address of next micro instruction and give it to the control memory. And from control memory, control signal will be generated by using the micro instruction register control field, and this process will go on till the time instruction is over, and then we will start the next instruction and repeat the whole process. That means fetch instruction from memory, loaded into the IR, then IR will give the address of first micro instruction, then your program counter will be incremented and it will fetch the address of another micro instruction. Then your micro instruction is given to the control memory, and by using control memory, these micro instructions are given to the micro IR, and then control signal generated, and this process will be continue one after the another. So micro instructions practically is this from IR, we will get an opcode, that means the address of first micro instruction, give it to the micro program counter, then go to the control memory, from where we fetch micro instruction. Now micro instructions have a control field. It will release control signals simultaneously, and micro PC will get incremented. So your program is executed in a sequential manner. So it is also called as SLM, that is straight line micro program. In some textbook, this whole process is called as straight line straight line micro program. Okay, so if there is only control field, then what is happening? If there is only control field, then what will happen? A micro program will execute in a sequential manner. In the time you wanted to do jump, if you wanted to do a jump, that means if there is a branch occurred in your instruction, branch occurred in your program. So if you wanted to do a jump, you have to give an address. So only when there is a branch, there will be an address. Otherwise, there will be no address. Your program will be executed in a sequential manner. So only instance when micro instruction will have a branch address is when there is a so if you go in a sequential manner, your micro program counter will get incremented. But if there is a branch, then there is a branch address and which will be loaded into the micro program counter, so that your micro program can take a branch and go on. Now jump can either conditional or unconditional. So what is unconditional jump, conditional jump, we will discuss in the next unit. But right now simply understood, jump can be either conditional or unconditional. So if unconditional, simply something like jump, that means you have to jump, so the branch address will be used. And if it is conditional, something like jump when your condition will satisfy, or when your condition or when your condition will false, that means if there, or for example you are adding something and there is a carry, so if there is a carry, jump to 2000. Okay, so if there is no carry, simply go to 1001. Okay, I'm giving you example, that type of conditional jumps will be there. So simply increment, and now again if there is a branch, now what kind of branch? Conditional branch. So if unconditional address will be simply loaded, and if it is conditional branch, then depending upon whether condition is true or false, and if condition is true, branch address will be loaded. If condition is false, that is, we don't have to jump. Microprogram counter will get incremented in a in a sequential manner. So option either you load, branch, add, or simply increment your program microprogram counter. That will be decided based on the condition. So to know whether condition is true or false, we have to check the status flag. So all the flags all are given as a input to the multiplexer. Now what is multiplexer? Here we are using the multiplexer and we are providing status flag to this multiplexer. For example, there is a branch instruction. You are adding two binary numbers and there is a carry, and if carry, go to the address location 1001. That is your conditional jump. Okay, and that time you are generating some status flag, and these status flags are given as an input to this multiplexer. So what is the multiplexer means? Select. Multiplexer use select control signals. We have discussed in the previous lecture. Multiplexer has two input. Either it will select 4 or either it will select 1. Okay, so this select control signal is used by multiplexer. So depending upon which condition you have written, if you written conditional jump, out of all them multiplexer will select carry flag jump. Multiplexer will check that input depending upon the flag and tell whether we want to load branch address, and when we load branch address, and when the condition is true. And if the condition is false, no loading of branch address will be there. Just increment the microprogram counter in the sequential manner and your program will go in a sequentially. So this is modern implementation of microprogram control unit.